distinguished professor,
distinguished guests, dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Let me start by saying I'm honored and delighted to be here in this great institution. Its history sort of mirrors that of Pakistan's. It's also 64-year-old, and I think has produced some of the best graduates in the history of our country. So let's give a big hand to the IBA. I also want to acknowledge the director, Dr. Farooq Iqbal. I knew him for a long time, and he has had a distinguished career at the World Bank, and I'm sure he's having an impact on this institution as well. Let me start by posing, first of all, a question that I think Chapra Sahab did as well. Okay, as we go out into the so-called real world, what are we attempting to do? Obviously, everyone wants to be a success. But I would say that success is important, but how you succeed is even more important. And we have to think about what exactly is success. Is it to have the best job, to have the most money, to own the grandest chateau, or to drive a Bentley, to have fame? What is it? And I think we should be careful not to define success in comparison with others. Do not compare yourself to others, because you are unique. You are not someone else. You are you. You have to make your own journey. And destination is important, but how you get to that destination is even more important. And as they say, that the journey is the destination. So I think success is really to live with integrity, with purpose, with passion, and with compassion. To celebrate success, but also to learn from failure. When you fall, try to fall forward and be there for others who have fallen, who are vulnerable, or who have been left behind. And success above all is to be for our family and friends and for our community and country. And this journey, you cannot overplan for it. Don't get too worked up. Don't get too anxious, because things will happen which nobody can plan for. In my own life, when I was born and grew up in one of the poorest and most underdeveloped parts of the whole world, in a small town bordering between Sindh and Balochistan. I didn't know where my journey would take me. That I would go from a place like that to the great institutions like the Harvard University or the World Bank, or to work in over 20 countries, or to be in the cabinet 6 times, or to win elections to the Senate 3 times. I didn't know all that. And frankly, I never planned for any of those things. In fact, when I look back, all the important things that happened to me in my life happened without my really planning for them. But, I listed some of these things that my journey took me, but maybe they are not the most important. The most important thing really is to be close to your parents, your brothers and sisters, your wife or life partner, and your children and your community, and to be with your peers and your friends, and to have contentment of the heart, and to sleep peacefully at night. And really, I think, in my own view, the best way to define success is how the people who are closest to you think about you. If your parents, your life partner, your friends, your children, your secretary, the person, your driver, or your colleagues, if they love you and respect you, if the people who know you think you are a good person, I think that is success. Now, you know, we love our country, and everybody always talks about this great country, you know, which goes from Khunjurab to the Arabian Sea, and from the desert in Thaparkar to the plains of Wagah, and into the rugged terrains of Turkham and Chaman. And this is a country with everything. It has the mountains and the plains and the deserts and the sea. It has great irrigation systems and dams and all the resources of all the crops, livestock and dairy, and mines of gold and marble and copper and granite and emeralds. And yet its people are still poor, many of them. And the country waits. This was a country that was not likely to be born. In 1930 at Allahabad, it was just the poet Iqbal's dream. And in 1940, in the shadow of the Badshahi Mosque in Lahore, that dream had converted into a resolution. And in 1947, when Jinnah landed in Pakistan, it was already a reality. And Jinnah, that dream had become Pakistan, and Jinnah had become Quaid-e-Azam. But I want you to always remember that it didn't happen just like that. Many, many people, our grandfathers and grandmothers and others, they gave up a lot. And so we, as the inheritors of that generation, it is now up to us to protect this country and to nurture it and to bring it to a level of greatness that they all hoped for, and to allow this country to fulfill its destiny. I want to just think as a student of economics and ask, how can we make this country great? What are the lessons that the world teaches us? I can share with you 3 big lessons which others have followed and achieved a lot of success economically. What are those? First is, you cannot be developed if your people are underdeveloped. You cannot have a developed country with underdeveloped people. So only those countries develop who care and develop their people. Second lesson, nobody can do it alone. If you want to develop, you have to reach out to the rest of the world. You have to sell your products to others and to attract them to come and do business with you. And the third is, you have to let the government keep itself confined to making policies and let the business people do business. If you follow these 3 big lessons, you will find that we also can be on the path towards economic prosperity, just like many, many others have. And yes, we have had some failures. And this is where the role of business people and business institutions come in. Why is it that the Pakistani people and the Pakistani businessmen have not been able to sell their products to others? In the last 10 years, our exports have not grown by even 1%. The growth rate of exports has been 0%. Why is it that everybody finds it hard to come and do business here? So these are the challenges that you people will encounter in your role as entrepreneurs, in your role as innovators, in your role as venture capitalists, in your role as business leaders. And these are the things we need to remedy. Because Pakistanis are second to none. Was our father of the nation, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, is he not one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century? Wasn't Sadiqin one of the greatest painters of the 20th century? Wasn't Fez one of the greatest poets of the 20th century? Weren't Hanif and Imran and Miadad some of the greatest cricketers of the 20th century? Weren't Jahangir and Jamshed one of the greatest squash players of the 20th century? Wasn't Dr. Salam one of the greatest physicists of the 20th century? Wasn't Idi one of the greatest social workers of the 20th century? Has there ever been any teenage Nobel Prize winner except one from Pakistan? So let's give a big hand to all the heroes of Pakistan. And we have other heroes who are not celebrated. The regular folks, the nurses, the teachers, the professors, those who work in the fields, and those who work in the factories. And above all, a very underappreciated group of our country who endure the pains of childbirth, who nurture you, who look after you. I never thought my mother was doing anything special till I had my own child. So let's give a big hand to all the mothers who are here. And I want to really end on two notes. First is, in life, don't be overwhelmed by the odds. Sometimes success appears so difficult. The chances of success are so little. And yet, we have to somehow find the resolve to carry on. When Abdul Sattar Idi started trying to bury the dead bodies of people who were abandoned, he was alone. He used to pick up the pieces and go and bury the person himself. When Nelson Mandela was breaking stones every single day for 27 years, he was alone. Even when the greatest leader of mankind, our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came down from the mountain, he was alone. So no great institution, no great movement, no great revolution, no great endeavor, no great achievement has been possible with one person saying, I don't care about the odds. I don't care if you think the chances of success are small. And I want you to be those people who go out and say, I don't care about the odds. I care about purpose. I care about my beliefs. I care about my ideals. And I'm going to stay the course. And I want to end with a story I have shared before, but I'd like to share it again.